Today we're not just telling a story. We're going to deconstruct a perfect trap. I mean, this is a piece of theater so convincing it tricked a doctor, manipulated a friend, and literally forced a murderer to confess his own crime. All right, let's get into it.
So here's the central question, right? When there's zero evidence, no witnesses, and the bad guy is absolutely certain he's gotten away with it, how do you get him? Well, Sherlock Holmes's answer is pretty wild. You don't find the truth. You build a stage, and you make the truth reveal itself. So the whole thing kicks off in a total panic. Mrs. Hudson, the landlady from 221p Baker Street, she just bursts into Dr. Watson's home. And the news she has, it's unthinkable. Sherlock Holmes is dying. And look at the details here. It's not just he's sick. No, it's a rare, fatal disease from Sumatra. Holmes hasn't eaten or had a drop of water in 3 days, and, this is the kicker, he has singled out Watson. He's the only person he'll see. For Watson, who's a doctor and Holmes's best friend, there's just no way he can refuse this. When Watson gets there, the scene is genuinely horrifying. Holmes is, he's a shell of himself. He looks gaunt, his face has this sickly yellow tinge, he's delirious, rambling on about oysters of all things. He absolutely looks like a man on the brink of death. But then come the rules. And they are bizarre and frankly kind of cruel. And this is the craziest command of all. Just imagine this. You're a doctor. You're standing in front of your dying best friend, and he forbids you from helping him. You can't examine him. You can't even touch him. Holmes insists he's like a walking plague, that any contact would be a death sentence. So Watson is just trapped, forced to stand there and watch helplessly. Okay, so here's the most important thing to get. We are watching two completely different things happening at the same time. From Watson's perspective, he's in a tragedy. He's tormented, watching his friend's horrible, agonizing end. But from Holmes's side, he's in total control. He's putting on a masterclass performance, and it's designed to be absolutely heartbreakingly convincing. So, why? Why go through all this trouble? Well, because this whole elaborate play has an intended audience of exactly one person. The entire production, from start to finish, is designed to lure the villain out of the shadows and right onto Holmes' stage. So who is this guy? Meet Culverton Smith. Now, he's not just a suspect. Holmes knows he's the killer. Smith used this exact obscure disease to murder his own nephew, and now he thinks he's done the same thing to Holmes. And here's the genius part. Smith is the only expert on this illness in all of London, which makes him the only one who can confirm the diagnosis and the only one arrogant enough to want a front-row seat to watch his enemy die. So Holmes's instructions for poor, heartbroken Watson are incredibly specific. They're non-negotiable. He is literally turning his best friend into an unwitting pawn in his game. Watson has to go get the very man Holmes knows is a murderer, and he has to use his own genuine grief as the bait. Every single step is perfectly planned to play on Culverton Smith's ego and his cruelty. And of course, the bait works like a charm. Culverton Smith shows up at Baker Street, and he can barely hide how happy he is. He sees what he wants to see: a dimly lit room, a distraught doctor, and his greatest enemy just moments from death. He thinks he's won. He has no idea he's just made the biggest mistake of his life. So Smith leans over the bed, and he just starts to gloat. He believes he's talking to a man who will be dead in minutes, so why not? He confesses everything. He admits he killed his nephew. He admits he sent Holmes the little infected box that supposedly made him sick. He lays out his perfect, untraceable crime to the one person he's sure can never, ever repeat it. And there it is. The confession is out in the open. The villain's own ego has sprung the trap, and now the performance that has held everyone completely captive is about to hit its show-stopping finale. In a single instant, everything flips. That weak, delirious voice is just gone, and in its place is the clear, strong, commanding voice of Sherlock Holmes. He throws off the blankets, looking perfectly healthy, and as he gives the signal word, Inspector Morton steps out from his hiding place behind the bed. The trap has snapped shut. Game over. So, how in the world did he pull this off so perfectly? Well, it was part method acting, part brilliant planning. He went on a 3-day fast to look genuinely starved and gaunt. He used makeup and Vaseline to get that sickly, feverish shine. He even had the murder weapon, that little infected box, as a prop. Every single detail, especially forbidding Watson from getting close, was all part of making sure the illusion held up. And here it is, the final piece of the puzzle. It's the most genius part, and, maybe the cruelest. Holmes later apologizes to Watson, explaining that his friend's very real, very painful suffering was the key to the whole thing. No actor could fake that kind of grief. It was Watson's genuine anguish that sold the lie and made it 100% believable to the murderer.
And really, that's the big takeaway here. Holmes didn't need to find clues in the usual way. He didn't have to deduce the truth. Instead, he just manufactured an entire reality. He staged a play so airtight and so emotionally powerful that the villain felt safe enough to walk right on stage and give a full confession. He didn't solve the crime. He created a situation where the criminal couldn't help but solve it himself.
I mean, it's a brilliant plan. It catches a killer who is basically untouchable. But it required a deep, painful, emotional manipulation of his closest friend. Which leaves us with this really interesting question to think about. When you're fighting for justice, how far is too far? Does the end justify a deception like this?